Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome to this year's Manufacturers Series. The actual proper shebang is all kicking off now. And of course we have to choose an actual manufacturer. And I thought long and hard about it and decided to go with the big boys of Mercedes. I haven't actually chosen them before. I've gone with Porsche, Nissan, Lexus, BMW, Jaguar, McLaren. But this time we're going to go with Mercedes. I know they're a strong brand. And hopefully we can drag them to victory in the style of Mr. Lewis Hamilton. Okay, so here we are then. Now the first thing I've noticed is, well, the stewards have got back to us on this, and these two guys here have got a penalty for ignoring social distancing rules. So that obviously is quite a setback at the start of the season. Not an ideal way to kick off your career as a Mercedes driver. But there you go. Bad things happen. Hopefully we can sweep that one under the rug and move on. Move on to the first race here at the Red Bull Ring. Well, I tell a lie. It was actually the second race of the season. The first one at Suzuka didn't go very well, and it wasn't worthy of a video. And therefore we arrive here at Red Bull Ring. I do feel like the Group 3 car is probably the better car of the two Mercedes anyway. And of course, you're probably going to want to be selective through the season. You can drop quite a lot of the rounds, so you might as well just do the races where your car is the strongest. You know, your car isn't always going to be good at certain circuits, so you've got to be a little bit picky. But here we are in qualifying, trying to find some lap time, trying to find a good lap to put us hopefully towards the front of the pack. And we kind of get stuck behind this Ferrari, and this doesn't obviously help us because I'm in quite a decent level lobby these days. After grinding my driver rating a little bit, we're back into the mid 60,000s for our driver rating, and therefore as the Ferrari gets out of the way quite nicely. So therefore we're going to come up against some decent drivers. I think we're maybe third split, maybe second at best at times, but I think this one was probably third, possibly fourth, but I think third. So the qualifying lap here a little bit interrupted, not ideal, but we're going to have another few laps with which to try and go for a better lap. And going to go up the inside of this Porsche here into the final two corners and try to establish a better position. And the main thing we're trying to seek here is the slipstream. As we all know, we've said it a billion times, that the slipstream is so important, especially in qualifying where you can gain at least a couple of tenths, especially through this first sector. So that first lap there, 9 tenths away from pole in 12th place. 12th isn't awful, but we can definitely do better than that. That lap was interrupted a little bit, and therefore we could go a little bit better here. Through the first corner, we found ourselves in a good space here behind the Atenza. The Atenza being a good car for this circuit, being sort of a power circuit this one. Up into turn 3, and we got through there quite nicely. Really just trying to judge the brakes to perfection. Got it nicely done there. Nissan GTR slow on the left. That's not going to pose any trouble. And then down into this tricky corner here. Difficult because you're in a downhill braking zone, so it normally takes a little bit longer to get stopped into that corner. And definitely closing up behind Creaser here in the Atenza. Hopefully we don't pull up too close behind him and lose any time into this final sector then. The twistier part of the circuit. Using all of the track limit here, of course, on the way in. Maybe turning in a little bit too late for that one. We can come back for that later apex on the power early. Probably lost a tenth or two there in that corner. And you can see just how far Creaser's got away. So Creaser's going to be setting a good lap here. I think this lap is definitely better. We were 6 tenths up through that split just a moment ago. As we come down into the final corner of this lap, and we've taken it quite nicely. The AMG really planted, really easy to drive, very comfortable, and it's definitely a good choice if you want a reliable car to drive. And there we go, up into third place, 2 tenths away from the pole position time. We just about crossed the finish line with about 7 or so seconds left to go, and therefore we have another opportunity of a lap here. First sector went okay. We're going to see how the second sector went here, and you see that we are just over a tenth down on our previous lap. But if I can absolutely nail this final sector, then we could certainly gain back that tenth and maybe a little bit more, and possibly improve our time. into the second to last corner. Really got to make the most. I was aiming for the kind of the green AstroTurf beyond the curb, and that seemed to do the trick. But coming through the final corner in the slipstream of Creaser in the Atenza, he goes on to pole position, and I improve my time but stay fourth as Creaser goes up into first. We lose one position, go to fourth, improve our time but stay in fourth, and there is the grid for the race. So actually pretty pleased with that, quarter of a second away from the pole position time, but that gives us a good foothold in the race, starting towards the front of the pack. And I'm going to run this entire race without editing any of it, because it was such a good race. Honestly, it was one of my favourites for a very long time. And I'm not sure what Cosmic was doing here in the Aston Martin, just having a weird sort of shimmy to the right hand side at the start of the race and surrendering third place to me already. They're very, very strange behaviour there. Don't know quite what that was, but we're going to quite gladly take the position and go up into third. So it's a 15 lap race, Red Bull Ring in the Group 3 cars. And the strategy is actually quite simple for this one. In fact, there isn't really a strategy, because the tyre wear was very low and the fuel was actually very low. So fuel saving wasn't really necessary in this race. Didn't really have to do much. And in terms of the tyres, as Carrie tries to warm his tyres up, in terms of the tyres, well, the tyres did wear out a little bit, but not really all that much, and you could actually do quite similar lap times from the start to the finish. So we tried to look around the outside, mainly just to try to keep our position from the Porsche behind. So Cosmic has actually dropped another position, and it's Power Bill in the Porsche, who we were circulating with in qualifying, who's just behind us. And okay, so Red Bull Ring, right? This is very much a power circuit. I said in qualifying how you kind of got to be picky with the tracks that your car is going to be suited to throughout the season, and you might as well just really target those ones. And certainly the Mercedes very good at Red Bull. This is very much a power track. You can see the first 4 cars on the grid for qualifying: an Atenza, a Nissan GTR, a Mercedes AMG, and an Aston Martin. All of them are quick in a straight line. That is the common trend there. And therefore, it kind of shows you that this track is all about the power, as you've got these very lengthy straights here out of slow corners. Maximising the curb through turn 1 on the exit. Just look at this Nissan GTR go. It is an absolute missile, and this is something that I'm just trying to analyse at this point of the race. Just knowing that, let's say I was the one in front of the GTR, then it's going to be really difficult to keep that GTR at bay, because it's just got such good speed, and there's not much you can do about straight line speed of another car. If it's quick, it's just going to come flying past you. I suppose all you can do is just defend and just pray that something happens and that you can get a bit of respite, but it's always going to be tricky. So the pack really close here, and this is the good thing. Once you get up into the higher level lobbies, it gets a lot more like this, especially towards the front of the pack. And I'm getting many messages, many comments on all the videos all the time. You know, people getting smashed about left, right, and centre. And yeah, it happens. I would just certainly have to recommend grinding your driver rating, get your driver rating up. So the best thing to do would be pick one of the daily races, one that you're really comfortable with, do a lot of qualify towards the front, and just grind the heck out of that race. Do it over and over and over, getting good results. Really just avoiding trouble. You know, if someone wants to try and slam up your inside, just give them the space and just let it happen, and then just play the long game, and just be patient that way, and then your driver rating will go up eventually. It does take quite a bit of time though. So the Nissan GTR here, a little bit slow off the turn. That's probably its main downfall, I suppose. We're going to get right into the toe. Even still, it's beginning to pull away. You can see that there. And coming into this corner, it gets very close to the Atenza. I'm going to go to the outside, try to get the cutback on the way out, and we've got the power down nicely. You see that the Mercedes got really good traction, and now it's going to be a side-by-side battle. Thankfully, Carissa moves over to the right-hand side here, and that's going to help me with some slipstream as we come down into the downhill braking zone. I've got the inside line, just hit my braking point, and that's all I have to do. I've got the inside, I've got the corner, and I'm up into second. We started fourth, now in second. Good progress so far, but still only 3 laps done, not even 3 laps done. We've still got 12 more after this one. Plenty of time with which to bottle it and make a big mistake, of course. So down the hill through this final sector, and this is where I noticed that Carissa was very strong in qualifying. So quite luckily we actually followed Greaser in the qualifying session, and therefore we got a bit of knowledge about how good his car is, and I think he's very good through this sector here. Through the middle twistier section, that Atenza just looks really planted. It's going to be quite tricky to overtake him anywhere in that section. But so the main strength, as I said, in this Mercedes seems to be the traction, and that is going to be mainly through the exits of these corners here. So the first corner, second corner, third corner, and that's going to be the place where I can possibly go for a move. At the moment, just going to try to get onto the back of him. The Nissan GTR is my main worry at this moment, because I know just how quick it is. That's why I'm just taking a couple of looks behind, and it wasn't quite close enough to go for a move, so we don't need to take a defensive line there. Just go through the corner as normal, and you see the traction really good on the brakes, really good on the traction. You see just how much I gained there through that corner and on the way out of it, and not quite close enough to go for a move here. We're going to just settle into the race. It's one of those races, I think this is perfect for me, because something I'm guilty of, but sometimes it's not such a bad thing, is I try to avoid fighting too much, just to really try to get away from the pack, just try to break away from the group behind. Sometimes I could have just gone for a move, but I don't want to risk losing too much time, making a bad move, making a hash of it, and then all the guys behind catch up. So in this situation here, just trying to get into the toe of Greaser, just trying to pull away maybe from the pack behind. You see just how close it is. There is a bit of a break in the pack, I think from about 6th or 7th place backwards. There's a bit of a gap. So at this point here, we're in a group of about 6 or 7, I don't know, cars in this group. And therefore any mistake, we're going to lose quite a few positions still at this point. So Greaser just pulling away at the end of lap 4, beginning of lap 5 on the exit here. Really difficult exit. You can really maximise the curb though. As long as your right wheels are still on the curb, then you're just about okay. And here the Nissan GTR a little bit closer, I sense, than on the previous lap. Again, still not close enough. I can't tell you, I can't stress enough how hard of a decision it is to go defensive or not into that section, because he was just coming into the radar, he was getting very close. You just never know. You know, a different person might have just gone for that move, and I would have looked a bit silly, but I think just about made the right decision to not defend. The problem is you start defending, and then Greaser will just start pulling away. So you have to be really, really tactfully aware of this situation. You don't want to start fighting too much, because the leader is just going to love that. He's just going to pull away, as he's not having to fight at all. So you've got to be really, really careful. And something I was thinking about in recent days, as I've seen a few other people get to level 50, I was thinking of grinding to get the level 50 trophy on this game, and therefore ultimately the platinum trophy. I still don't even have a platinum trophy on PlayStation 4. It'd be good to know how many platinum trophies you guys have got. I still haven't got any, not any at all. But I think, given that this is my main game, it probably would make sense to try to go for it. I'm only level 45 as it stands, and therefore I'm not even halfway technically because of the XP amounts. Even level 46 isn't even halfway to 50 in terms of the actual XP required. It's absolutely crazy. It really is. But I'm considering going for it, and maybe do a couple of grindy streams. It would take, I think I calculated, about 50 hours of doing the same race over and over and over again, which is honestly a bit mental, but maybe I'll do some of them behind closed doors, but then some on the stream. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts on that. But here, looking behind, this is beginning to open up a little bit now. This is kind of what we were waiting for, just being a little bit more patient and just waiting for the guys behind to begin fighting, making a mistake, getting a penalty, something like that. We're in a good position now. We're pulling away from the pack slowly but surely. The race is coming to us, and those darn track limit penalties are coming out to play, or perhaps those guys once again ignored social distancing rules, and that's why they're getting the penalty. But it's very easy to do that, especially I think coming out of the first corner. Very easy just to drop 2 wheels beyond the limit, and then boom, what do you know, you've got yourself a big old slap on the wrist and a penalty. And in a race this close, you really don't want a penalty. You don't want a penalty in any race, but when it races as fine as this, as close as this, any penalty would seriously harm your chances because Creaser here in the lead, he's driving perfectly, and it's really hard to keep up with him, let alone try to get past him. And if I were to get a penalty, boom, I'm out of the slipstream all of a sudden, and that's my chances gone. But still, so far, driving okay. We're approaching the halfway mark in perhaps 1 lap's time. We've got the fastest lap of the race, but then we should probably be faster than Creaser because he doesn't have the toe. He did, though, quite admittedly get the pole position time, and he didn't have toe for the majority of that lap, so he obviously has the speed without the slipstream. He's obviously got that Atenza working. The Atenza works for this track and he's driving it very well, so this is not going to be an easy race to try to win at all. A bit of a slide, a bit of a wiggle, a bit of a boogie on the exit of the turn there. Maybe signs that the tyres are beginning to go off. To be honest, I'd say my tyres feel fine. You can look at the lap times on the right hand side. The consistency is there. High 29s, low 30s for the lap times. We go purple again. So even though there is tyre wear, I felt as though as your tyres go off, the car was getting lighter because you were burning your fuel, and it kind of balanced out, so you were able to go as fast throughout the course of the whole race. Coming down the hill into the final corner, it drops down nicely. On the power, you can really maximise the track limits there. Really learn your track limits. If you want another tip, learn where you can extend to, where you can and can't. Especially for this first corner, look at this. You can go onto the Astro for a wider entry, and on the exit, two curbs inside the sausage, and then just roll off that curb as the curb ends, back onto the track. And look at the gap now. Very tasty gap. I'm liking the look of this as we come up into the hairpin, up the top of the hill. Again, not close enough, but we are getting closer. It goes very wide there. That's going to give us a chance here, surely. We're going to poke our nose into the gap. It doesn't squeeze me off the track, thankfully. Got the inside. This is where we made the move on the Nissan GTR on lap number 3. Here we are 5 laps later, eventually going for the race lead. And we've got on the brakes nicely, hooking up with the curb beautifully. The Mercedes really just great to drive. It is just so easy to drive, just effortless. It really doesn't require any thinking, which is good because I don't have much of a brain. It's much easier compared to that damn Huracan that I was driving last week, which was an absolute nightmare. It required every ounce of concentration in your entire being. But the Mercedes here, a lot more graceful, a lot more easy to drive. And in a race like this, where you need concentration for 20 minutes plus without making a mistake, that's a very welcome thing, let me tell you. Next to the final corner, looking at the radar, he's very close. Now, this is the point. Now, do I defend? Do I lose time defending and fighting for this position? He's poked his nose there. I wasn't quite sure if he was going to go for it. I moved gently across, but then he went for it. So I had to back out. I don't want to fight that one around the outside, risk getting a penalty. I'm going to go for the better exit instead and go up the inside. A bit of deja vu here, just poking my nose on the right-hand side. The Mercedes here, good power up the hill. Got the inside for the hairpin. Just nail our braking point, look for the braking point just before the 100 board. Down to first gear, we've got the job done. Back into the lead. Now I was just wondering, is he going to work with me? Is he not going to work with me? And it's quite clear, he doesn't really want to work. He just wants to get back in the lead. Fair enough, you know. It's just one of those things. So we know what we're up against here. He's going to go for the move. If he sees the opportunity, he's just going to go for it. He's not going to just sit behind and try to break away from the group. I suppose we are getting later into the race now, lap number 9, and the closer you get to the end, of course you want to start moving your way to the front of the pack at the early stage of the race. Absolutely fine to be sitting a little bit behind and just breaking away from the group, but later on you're going to want to start trying to get into the position you want to be in, aka first, and try to settle in, and make it your own. Through the second to last corner, down the drop, into the apex of the final corner. Lap number 9 coming to a close. We've got 6 more to go. We're in the lead, started in 4th. Is he going to go for this move? I don't think he's quite close enough this time. So we're going to move across just to kind of put him off a little bit, but he doesn't go for it anyway. Through the first corner. Again, we're getting really good exits here. You see I'm just gaining maybe, as someone I saw in the background spinning to their death. And we're just getting really good exits. We're gaining maybe half a car length or a car length on the exit. Doesn't sound like much, but again, in a race this close, that matters. Every little thing matters now. We need that. again, on the exit, the traction is there. This car just has traction. It gets out of the slow corners especially, it just gets out of them so well. And it just gives you a bit of breathing space coming out of the corner, and therefore they're not going to be right there breathing down your neck into the next turn, which is just good. I don't have to worry, and that's kind of one of the things I've noticed about being in the lead. It's difficult. It's actually pretty tricky being in the lead with someone right behind you. It's one of the harder positions. It's definitely easier to follow, I would say. Obviously you'd have a different opinion about that with different drivers, but I feel that being behind is easier. You can see your opponent, you can judge things a lot easier. Being in front, you know, your opponent behind you, you can't see them unless you're some sort of weird fish mutant person who has eyes on the side of their head and can see backwards in 360 degrees. But I'm not that, and therefore I can't see backwards unless I press the look backwards button or look on the radar, but then, you know, that's kind of different. Fish doesn't do that, does it? Up into turn 1, lap number 11, 5 to go. Can we keep the lead and please Mr. Toto Wolff back at base, back at the factory in Banbury? No, it's not even Banbury, is it? Oh my god, I'm gonna get crucified for this. I think the Haas factory is in Banbury. Up into turn number 3, hooking it up. Look at that. We've nailed that braking point 11 times now in this race. It looks like the Nissan GTR back into third, and the GTR posed quite a threat in the early stage of the race. And ideally, I think we don't want that GTR to be coming back into the picture here, because that GTR is just such a beast in the straight line. It's honestly filling me with fright. Just the idea of that car possibly coming back into this fight, because there's not much you can do about straight line speed other than ram it off into the shadow realm, obviously. Through this corner, I felt like Freitas was really good. That was his strong corner, compared to me at least. He was very good through there, and couldn't quite do much. Luckily for me, this next corner isn't much of an overtaking opportunity. You can't really go for a late lunge if you're not alongside already. Through the final corner then, 4 to go now, making the most of the track limits. He's very close again, and it's just one of those questions, do I defend? Yes, I do. Just put my car a little bit narrower than I normally would. He doesn't go for it. On the exit again, he's right there though. This time he's got better traction, or I haven't got as good traction. Looking at the radar, there he is. He's on the left. Force him to the left hand side, the outside. That's where I need him to be. Spot our braking zone, braking point, and he brakes quite early. We've still hit the apex nicely, and on the traction again, just through there. Look at that. The Atenza just can't quite get the grip. He made a mistake. Perhaps he dropped 2 wheels onto the curb, and yeah, it's not too friendly with you, especially later in the race with lower grip. Though I must say that the lap times are still there. You see, low 30s still. Lap 9 was a little bit slower, 30.7, but we were fighting. I think we changed position twice on that lap, and therefore you can expect to lose a bit of time. And that kind of shows you, look, we both lost more than half a second fighting on lap 9. And in a race this close, I've said it so many times, you know, you lose half a second, you're back in the pack. Although must be said, we are beginning to slowly pull away. Not much, but just enough that we don't quite have to worry about third place at this precise moment in time. It really is a 1v1, I think, at this point. And I've had so many good 1v1s in this game. It really has proved to be a good game for that. I'll probably make a playlist for it, to be honest. Now, lap 13, 3 to go. Little bit wide there. That's the thing we got to watch out. And I had to back right off the power. This is a big problem for me. I'm going to have to go fully to the right hand side. He's going to go to the left, and again he's got a bit more momentum than last time. You see him on the left hand side there. Still got the inside though. Late on the brakes, a little bit past the apex, but again just getting on that power nicely and just dropping away from him. The Atenza there once again proving that he couldn't quite get out of that corner. But that was a close call for sure. A little bit too wide going into turn 1. Couldn't quite get on the power as early as I would have liked, and therefore I had to back off the power. Freitas almost made the most of that, and thankfully for me, just about managed to keep the right hand side the inside and kept the position. Now, 2.5 laps left to go. We are really in the squeaky bum time now. Things are getting very, very sweaty indeed as we approach the big final stage of the race. He's following in the slipstream. The thing through here really is just to nail your braking point, just corner as you normally would, because these 2 corners here, as long as you just get it right, there's no way someone can overtake you really, and we get it just fine on the exit. Is he close enough? Probably not. He's going to size up a move surely into turn number 3, the hairpin at the top of the hill. Onto the penultimate lap now, through the first corner, on the power nicely, a bit better than we did on the previous lap. He's very close, he's in the toe for sure, and all I can do here is just go to the right hand side. There's no point trying to let him pass now. This is full defensive mode now. We're not going to try and be strategic and clever, it's just keep him behind at all costs at this point of the race. We're too far in. If he were to get past me now, then he could easily defend for 1.5 laps and I wouldn't be able to get back past, and therefore all I have to do, keep my cool, defend, and perhaps bring home a great victory for the Mercedes boys back at base, wherever that base is, somewhere in the UK. And I should probably just look it up on Google right now. Let me type it in. Mercedes AMG F1 team base. Where the hell is it? Brackley? Yeah, it's in Brackley. There we go. Not Banbury. Almost though. Almost there. Right, anyway, back to where we are here in Red Bull Ring in Austria. And come into the second to last corner. On the penultimate lap, you see just how close he is, and to be honest, I was put off by that because he's right there. But my experience tells me they can't go for that move, so just don't worry about it too much into that final corner. There's not much point worrying about it. He's very close. I'm going to defend. I didn't want to, but I kind of had to. He could have always have gone for that late lunge. He's going to compromise my exit though, which is not going to be a good thing. Almost gets a good penalty, running very wide. He's made a mistake. He has made a mistake on the exit of turn 1. I think I'm going to be safe then into this hairpin at the top of the hill. Just take the normal racing line, hit our braking zone, braking point, as we have done for the whole race. Look at that, clipping the apex beautifully, and on the power, short shifting out of first gear. And again, he's struggling to get out of that turn as we head down the hill towards turn number 4 officially. And Cosmic there for, where is he? He's down in 6th place now. He started 3rd in the Aston Martin. Power Bill, the Greek driver, into 5th. He started 5th. And ARC Dan's in Mercedes up to 3rd. And that kind of proves that the Mercedes is a very strong car here. And it was definitely right to go for this race and try to maximise this race. Now through the 3rd to last corner, or 4th to last corner, now the 3rd to last corner. We've got 2 corners left to go, guys. And we've got a victory. Can I keep my cool for 2 more corners? Come on, get in there, Lewis. Surely this is it. As we come through the penultimate corner, come through the final corner. We've done it, guys. We have absolutely done it. Brought home a fantastic victory for the Mercedes boys.
Get it. I always want to start by saying big thank you to all this crowd. I mean, you guys have been amazing.
Get in there, Lewis. Most certainly intensified right there. There is the confirmation of the result. Oh my god, what a race. I really had to be completely on it for the whole thing. Now of course the Mercedes was a strong car, but you just have to make the most of it, and I think I did there. As we bring home a fantastic victory, so happy with that, so happy. One of my favourite performances in the game so far. And we're going to bring home 305 points. That's the most I've ever got, more than 300. I've never done more than 300 in an FIA race, but wow. That was just incredible. I enjoyed that so much. I hope you did too. You probably did if you're still here. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. I shall see you all next time. But in the meantime, take care and thank you for watching. Goodbye.